Today we're going to be taking a look at the new cards from the Children of the Worm DLC, and I'm going to be letting you know which ones of these are actually worth a damn and should make it into some of your 15 card decks. First up, we have Experimental Stimulants. Creates a cloud that grants 15% damage and 25% reload speed. Now, the circles for these are kind of nice. In a holdout position, they are going to get the entire team, so you don't got to worry about that if you're not spread out. It does cost rifle bullets, so ideally we do not want to use this with a rifle build. This will be used with a shotgun build or a sniper build, or if you happen to be running SMG. Now, there is some misinformation. Heard a couple people saying that if you have the card on or if you activate the card, then for the entire mission, you're going to get 15% damage and 25% reload, and you can get it again if you reactivate it. That's actually not accurate, and if you take a stopwatch and you time the reload speed going in with this card on one deck and with it off, you can tell that the reload speed is exactly the same. You're not getting any boosts or any glitches with this card, but the card is still really good. 15% damage during the holdouts for 10 seconds and 25% reload speed is pretty decent. So when you got that bruiser or something coming up that you're not sure if you're going to be able to take out, and you're in a small holdout, or you got that boss and you're about to flash it, as you flash it you hit this as well. This is a nice card to have for some extra damage. It is a very strong potential card for shotguns and snipers. Now, next up we have Fill 'em Up with Lead. This is an even better card in my opinion, especially for the 2-as-1 decks. While shooting, gain 1% damage, 1% fire rate, and 5% swap speed for every 0.25 seconds. Even just on a standard RPK without an extended mag, by the end of the clip, you're hitting 10, 11, 12. You're basically getting on, even when you don't use your full clip, 5% damage. And if you're using a swap build, it's very easy to get 10 plus consistent damage, and even higher than that for most of the time that you're firing at the more life mutations, bruisers, tall boys, all that bosses, or if you have a lower rarity gun and you're not doing it, if you're not a DPS build. So this is a really nice one. It's mainly for 2-as-1 builds, or if you're going to use an LMG, because you're obviously going to go for the extended clip, and once you got a good extended magazine, then this is actually fairly nice for the LMG as well, especially increasing the fire rate and the swap speed, so you don't drop your gun and have to pick it up, or if you actually reload your LMG, then you can swap really quickly as well at the end of it, and then swap back and reload it. So that card is really nice and definitely one of your 15 cards for either of those builds. Now we also have Suppressing Fire for the LMGs and snipers. It does not make the cut for snipers. Snipers, even though it does trigger on mutation, snipers are not have high rate of fire, but the LMG for crowd control, this is really nice on the larger hordes. 50% slower, and then you keep proccing it by shooting more in the horde. You can really slow up a nice group if you spread your fire out left to right. And this card is actually really nice on the LMGs. This one can definitely make it into a 15 card deck for LMG. Now we have Enhances Bash to stun nearby enemies. It's cool. Would it ever make a 15 card deck that I build? Probably not. And by that I mean definitely not. But, I mean, it's cool. Next up, we have Crippling Frequency. Now, this is a card that does have a broken feature at the moment. You can spam this, and you can stack the damage. So it's not 2%, it reduces incoming damage by 2. So, alright. The Ridden would hit you for 10, but if you activate this, then it will hit you for 8. If you activate it twice really quickly, then it will hit you for 6. And if it hits you for normally 10 and you activate this 5 times, then it will hit you and nearby enemies for 0. Now, it's worth noting all of these cards that have these symbols, the black, these right here, this one, this one, this one, they all follow you, or they all just work whenever. So this one is basically used for like when you know you're about to go run through a section and you're going to get hit by a bunch of Ridden potentially. You can just spam this a bunch of times till it gets to 10, which is where it caps out. So the most you actually can reduce is 20, which does make all common Ridden do 0 damage. So you can make all common Ridden do 0 damage for 10 seconds as well as, or 7 seconds, sorry. As well as mutations deal significantly less damage if you're on Nightmare or No Hope. So, I mean, it's basically for speedrunning decks. It's your, oh shit, or I gotta get through this passage and this one's gonna be really rough to make. It's for a speedrunning deck. Otherwise, reducing the incoming damage by 2. I mean, you're using the ammo, you're using pistol ammo. It doesn't really make a build besides speedrunning. I've heard, and apparently somebody posted, that this is completely broken. You can get it past 20. That's not actually accurate. It does use your pistol ammo. You can't use it with ammo stash. You're going to use your ammo, so you can't infinitely use this. It doesn't remain. But for a speed running build, it is nice. And also show, I'm actually don't have that video up just yet, but I'll have it up shortly showing exactly how that is broken. Next up, we have Expire T5, which actually is a really nice card, especially for like a sniper build where if you get rushed by a couple commons or someone sets a horde off, you don't really have the ability to take them out unless you got a really nice stacked tech or something. Pretty much you would struggle a little bit pushing them off you and getting past them. But this is like an oh shit moment. Now you can just pop this and you have a nice little ring around you where all the commons will die. And this does work up into including No Hope difficulty. Even on No Hope, you will deal pretty nice burn damage on larger enemies like Crushers. But once you get to Monstrous and even like the standard ones on No Hope, you're not killing them. You're dealing some damage. You're not using this to kill them. You're gonna snipe them. But when you get that unexpected horde or some enemies just jump out of a bush or off the cliff that you didn't expect, instead of pushing them back, you can go burn 50 pistol ammo and kill them. So this is really nice for, personally, the only build I would personally put it in is a sniper build, but it is a pretty nice card, so you might want to put it in one of your other builds as like an oh shit if you get a horde. Especially if you're playing quick play, this is definitely a quick play card right there for when somebody sets off the horde. Next up we have Ultrasonic Wound Therapy. This is another pretty decent card, only for Doc. So it says you heal 1 health over 7. Even with just playing Doc and 15% healing efficiency, trying to remember, I think it was 13 or 14 health. Even if you just dump tons and tons of healing efficiency in your deck, maybe if the entire team also added Medical Expert, I really don't see it making much of a difference. But with like 100% healing efficiency, you're still only getting 19 heal. But if somebody is at max health, it will go into the over health. So that is really nice, and it'll give them temp health. And basically, it's a free heal. It's kind of like a free common bandage, almost. So, I mean, it costs pistol ammo, and you're probably going to have to pick up a Desert Eagle or a Magnum, because you are. But you can occasionally get a free heal. So this makes mission 1 a lot easier before you get your supplies up, especially when you're spending money or trying to save money for compound interest early, depending on your gameplay. But this is a really nice free little heal for the dock, and other players can drop ammo as well so they can use it more. So that is really nice, especially end game when you've already bought a couple of the team ammos and other players are now at like 1,000 ammo. They can just drop a couple hundred, 500, max them out, the dock out real quick, and they can use it more. So that one is pretty decent, especially if people are at max health and you got a big dude coming in. You can put them into temp health real quick so they don't take trauma damage. It definitely could be worked in as one of the cards for Doc for sure. Besides Doc, I don't really see it being effective. Out with a Bang is okay. It's not one of my favorites. I don't like playing for downs. I don't like playing for negative effects. But you only need one person on the team for everybody to get it. So that's kind of cool. It's not a bad card. It's just a card that would never make any of my personal decks. Plus, you get 1 extra life. So, lastly, well, I'll talk about the other two. So, AI Assistant Module is currently broken. It definitely would be in a Pinata build and a Doc build as well, just generally. But right now it's completely broken. I'm not going to get into exactly why it's broken. Just saying that this is right now game-breakingly broken, basically. Almost God mode. It's so broken. I'll link a video in the description showing how this exploit works at the moment. But even if you didn't have that exploit, 5% item reuse chance. So you basically right off the bat you have 5% extra item reuse chance. So that's good. But now every time you use an item, if you don't get the reuse, your reuse chance increases by 10%. So pretty much eventually you are guaranteed to get a reuse. And generally, like if you watch the exploit, once you get to like 50-60%, you're gonna get that reuse pretty soon. So this is a really nice card. Definitely one of the best cards with the exploit or not. And with the exploit, it's just completely broken. Next up, we have Belligerent. No, it's complete crap. Gain a stacking 5% increase to damage each time a horde is called. So when a horde is called, you do get 5%, but you're not getting 10% to the next horde. And that means you have to evade all damage. Not one hit from a common, not one damage from an acid pool, not one damage from a fire. Like, yeah, you can go a while without taking damage. A lot of times you can go multiple hordes without taking damage. But there are much better cards than that. Now, maybe like a couple of God players might want to put this in your deck. And you're probably not the ones watching this video. And if you know you're good enough to use this card, use this card. But otherwise, this is not for most players. Lastly, we have Food Scavenger. This does add a ton of food on the board, which is kind of nice. This is really nice if you're playing with bots, especially if you're playing solo. Then you get all the food, so you'll have all those buffs. On top of that, it's good to instantly get the achievement for getting 5 foods. So for a solo deck, it would be interesting to see if it could make it into a 15 deck. You would get a ton of food, pretty decent buffs once you get to the halfway mark, maybe into third of the way into the mission that you're on. So there is enough in 4 players for everybody to get a little bit, but probably I would only potentially run this in when I'm playing solo. Maybe with 2 players. 4 players, I'd probably pass on the card. even though it does really help out with Ravenous. So if you want one player to keep it on the team, even with 4 players, it's not a terrible call. It is the only way, really, to not have Ravenous really fuck you up. So that is one other really good thing about it. And that is all the new cards looked at and what ones are better and in which regard. I hope that helps.